Yo, what up? Welcome back to Buzztober. I apologize for my appearance right now. I just did not have time to do my hair this morning and I just got home from work. Yeah, I went to work looking like this. That's a new level of concern that you all should be for me. That's just what it is. Anyway, I think we're on day 15. Oh, that's kind of a big number. That's fun. One thing I kind of wanted to look up and see if this is like a thing on Reddit. For some reason, like someone, I don't remember who I was talking to today, but someone mentioned to me like when they were kids, they used to have, you know, a bunch of sleepovers and stuff. So I was thinking maybe I could find a Reddit thread that was like, oh my God, I'm looking at myself and oh my God, it's all right. You guys are fine. You came here to listen anyway. You didn't come here to see someone attractive. So we're off to a horrible start. I digress. I was going to look up on Reddit and see if there was like a best sleepover horror stories. I don't know if like, is that still a thing? When I was young, I'm a millennial. When I was young, I feel like sleepovers were like the thing. I don't know if like younger kids do them anymore. I don't know. That would be interesting to find out. If you are someone who is like Gen Z, I guess, do you do sleepovers? Is Gen Z, what comes after Gen Z? I don't know. I'm gonna look up this Reddit thread really quick and I will get back to you for episode 15 of Buzztober. Also, sorry, this shirt, I can't even right now. Oh, and if you're wondering, I have so much work I need to do after this, so I am just hydrating. That is so boring, I'm so sorry, but it's true. Stay hydrated. That would just be my recommendation in life. But at least it's a spooky cup. That makes it more fun, right? Yes, we're doing our best here today. Let's go ahead and get started. I did find a thread, which is really cool. I just decided this like thinking about it on the ride home because I heard somebody today talk about like sleepovers when they were young or whatever. So, okay, so like I said, the thread is entitled, "What was the scariest sleepover experience?" Oh yes, I'm over 18. Wild. Oh, this must be like a lot. What was the scariest sleepover experience you've ever had? Okay, so I'm gonna start with the first one. This was written in by Mora Moonmo, okay. And they said, one time when my cousin and I were about 11 years old, I was staying at her house and we had to share a bed. It wasn't too much of an issue. The only thing was that she was a sleep talker. While she was asleep, I was watching TV. Have always had trouble sleeping, but TV helps as it's a comfort thing. I eventually got sleepier and I moved a tiny bit to get comfy. The small movement made my cousin stir a little and I didn't want to wake her, so I tried to move as gently as possible. I moved, I kid you not, by like a centimeter and she just sat up. Oh, fuck. Oh. She turned towards me to face the wall, eyes wide open, and had the most terrified look on her face. She then proceeded to gasp super loud while pointing at the wall with the same expression on her face, then fell back on the bed and was asleep like nothing happened. I didn't move for the rest of the night. Oh my God. Okay, so a couple things. Okay, so I had a friend growing up. I think we only had a sleepover like once. Like it wasn't like a best friend or anything like that. But she had this thing where she could fall asleep with her eyes open, or sometimes when she was sleeping, her eyes would like open in her sleep, but she would still be asleep. Like, the fuck? Like, tell me that's not crazy. I'm sure, like, I'm not judging, but you can't help stuff like that, but how crazy, like, whew, she's the only person I know that had that issue, so just wild. The other thing too, I've never been a good sleeper. If you're someone who knows me, you know this, you know I'm just like the worst sleeper in the world. So I have like terrible insomnia, as you could probably gather, and I also used to sleepwalk a lot as a kid. Not a lot, like a couple times. I'm like exaggerating shit left and right to keep you guys entertained. No, I'm just kidding. But it's only happened a couple times, but the two times that like I remember the story more vividly than other times, you obviously don't remember sleepwalking, or at least I never have. One of the times I remember, my brother and I, we had rooms like across the hall from each other, and I guess one night I like sleptwalk and wandered into his room, and he like woke up to me just standing over looking down at him while he's sleeping. Poor guy. I'm sure the trauma that I caused, I mean, I would have hated me. No, I mean, oh my God, I'm so sorry if you're watching this, Jeff, like, I'm so sorry. But yeah, that poor thing, bless him. The last thing I remember from that was like, he must have taken me into my parents' room and he was kind of like, Mom and Dad, you deal with this, I'm terrified, or whatever. I don't remember exactly what the verbiage was or whatever. But I woke up and I was in my parents' room and I was so confused. My mom was like, just let's tuck you back in or whatever. So that, and then one other time I slept walk and I had this piggy bank, and my mom said that she woke up, and this is the scariest shit ever. My mom said she woke up in the middle of the night to hearing like a weird noise, and I grew up in like a small house, so it was easy to like hear stuff. So she got up, and which is so brave, like bravo, or not smart. Her instincts must have known it was me, I hope. I don't know. I don't know if I definitely don't think I would have been brave enough to go do it. Anywho, so I guess like she walked into the living room and saw me just sitting there on the couch shaking this piggy bank that I had. Just, can you imagine? I don't want to do the motion. So you could picture it without me having to do it. So terrifying. I know other people who, like I think I had a friend in college who she said she's like gone out the door, like unlocked the door and made it all the way down the street sleepwalking. Or who told me that? Yeah, someone in college maybe, or something like that. And I know someone who also used to turn on the oven while they were like sleepwalking. So sleepwalking is terrifying. I'm sure there's like some kind of rhyme or reason for it. I don't know what it is. I just think it's scary enough that I'm not trying to like think about it too much. But it's weird. It's like, I don't know if you grow out of it as like an adult, but I only did it when I was a kid. Okay. Yeah, crazy stuff. This was written in by Direct Condition 9101. Even though this happened 12 years ago, I still remember it very vividly. When I was 14, I was visiting a friend I haven't seen in a few years, and we were pretty excited to hang out again. And his parents always treated me like I was their own son, so I was pretty stoked. He lives on a 20-acre ranch with guns and 2 ranch dogs, 1 ranch cat, and we were watching horror movies with all the lights off in his family's camper out on their driveway. The family was inside and we were outside. We went inside to get pizza, popcorn, and other junk food around 12. My friend fell asleep pretty early, going to bed at 2 a.m. I was playing GTA. I don't know what that is. Sorry. I'm not like cool like that, I guess. More I'm just like not privy to video games other than like the main ones that everybody's heard of. But anyway, I was playing GTA when I heard the dogs barking very loudly. I brushed it off thinking one of the ducks or chickens was messing with the dogs, or maybe even a deer or a coyote. Fast forward about 20 to 30 minutes, I needed to take a piss, so I went out, and I will never forget the face that looked back at me. The person ran off into the dark towards the entrance to the ranch. Sure, I was alarmed, but I still had to take a piss. Priorities, friend. Sorry. I mean, I get it, I guess. Like, what would I do? I don't know. I finished taking my piss, so I went back inside and made sure to lock the camper door before going back to doing what I was doing. About another 20 to 30 minutes later, I hear the dogs barking again. This time, I woke up my friend and told him everything. He was skeptical at first, but then he looked out the blinds of the camper, and I will never forget the look on his face when he looked back at me. We called his parents, and his dad answered, and we told him everything. He thought we were trying to pull a prank and laughed and said, "Y'all boys aren't gonna get me, nice try though." I just assumed he has an accent. Sorry if that was rude. I don't know what's offensive and not offensive most of the time anymore. Apologies if I upset someone with that. But then he heard the panic in my voice because my friend was the only one talking to him up to that point. He quickly rushed out with his gun and threatened to shoot whoever was on their property at that odd hour. We heard all this from inside the camper and we were terrified. We heard a blood-curdling scream and then 3 gunshots went off. We went outside and we saw a guy on the ground. My friend's mom called the cops while all this unfolded. They lived out in the country, so it took about 25 to 30 minutes just for cops to show up. Now the entire family is outside terrified. The youngest of them all, we'll call her Jacqueline, was crying because 1, there was a dead man about 20 feet ahead of her, and 2, the man killed one of the farm dogs. Fuck this story. Oh my God. Oh, that makes me really upset. I'm sorry. I didn't know. Maybe because the dog was very loud. I'm sorry. That's deeply upsetting. I wish, damn it. Anyway, sorry, everyone. Then the cops showed up and it turns out the man was a prison escapee from a prison. That's what a prison escapee is. That was just 15 miles away from my friend's house. And we don't know why exactly the guy was there, but he was put behind bars for killing 2 people. Still to this day, We don't know if he was there to kill us. All of us. Oh my God, that's really scary. That's wild. Like, I was not expecting it to go in that direction. That's crazy. This one was written in by Maddie Murrah, 12. Well, this happened a few months ago. My cousin went to her house to sleep over and we had fun. We played games, watched movies, and more. Before going to sleep, we watched a scary movie that put everyone to sleep. My 9-year-old cousin suddenly somehow woke up at 3 a.m. and heard weird noises coming from outside of our window. It came from our backyard, and he kept hearing footsteps. He thought it was an animal at first, but it sounded louder than that. It was making weird noises and sounds throughout the yard. He claimed it had red eyes and was at least over 7 feet tall. He was scared, but he thought it was his imagination playing with him. He tried to fall asleep, but couldn't. Finally, he managed to fall asleep and woke up the next morning. My cousin told my brother everything, and my brother told me. I didn't believe him though, since he was only 9, and he was a kid that would sometimes make things up. But he sounded serious. To this day, I still don't believe him, or at least I try not to, and he never heard anything outside of the window since that day. Bruh, I don't know. I mean, I know kids are creative, but that is wild. So this one's written in by Remember the Tremolo. There were 4 of us sleeping over at a friend's house. His parents were pretty liberal and just left us alone in the house all night. Well, they were God knows where. I didn't tell my parents about this, of course. They assumed an adult would be with us all night. I was about 11. The oldest was about 13 or 14. Crazy thinking back on it now. It was in the early 90s in North Ireland. Oh, hello from across the pond. Is that the right thing to say? I don't even know. Who cares? Let's move on. I mean, I care, but no, I don't. That's fine. Okay. Things weren't as bad then as they were in the previous decades, but they were still very bad by the standards of any normal society. And on top of that, the housing estate I lived in wasn't all that different from Amsterdam in The Wire. I don't know what any of those things mean. Maybe you do. If you do, comment below. The drug dealers ran the place, and a good 40% of the houses were burnout husks because of them. Rival dealers getting hacked with machetes or stabbed with screwdrivers wasn't uncommon. Okay, oh my God, okay. It was a small patch of land with 3 or 4 psychotic drug families vying for control. A few murders, a lot of more general violence. A few murders, okay, all right. Said very normally. That is not normal, folks. That is not normal. I'm still amazed at the irresponsibility of leaving us to fend for ourselves in that environment and at that age anyway. So it sounds like you recognize as well, OP, that this was not normal. We were all sleeping in the living room, which is where the hi-fi, TV, and Mega Drive were, so it made sense to just crash there. I think a lot of those are terms that are like UK terms, because I don't know what a hi-fi or a Mega Drive is. So if you know, please comment below, because I don't. We had a great time, stayed up late into the night talking and sharing stories in between passing the gamepad back and forth. In the wee hours of the morning, we started winding things down. We turned out the lights and switched off the telly and started getting into our sleeping bags on the floor. We were still awake and talking for a good while, but we were all at maximum chill levels. Where we were laying, the TV and huge hi-fi system my friend owned were basically blocking half the room from view. The window was behind the TV, so from our phone vantage point, the window was hidden. The curtains and blinds on the large living room window weren't closed, so moonlight and lampposts were casting shadows from the trees outside, dancing around in the wind. We hadn't noticed before because the interior lights were on, but now that they were turned off, we had quite the puppet show going on. That is terrifying. I hate puppets, fun fact. This is how we came to notice a man peering through the window at us. Oh fuck, that took a turn. We went from dancing trees to a man peering through that window at you. The shadow of his head and hunched shoulders peeking over the bottom sill of the window was visible on the wall. One of the group noticed him and whispered something to the effect of, "Shh, there's someone there. Look at the shadow." I remember looking and not seeing anything particularly person-like, but he then directed our eyes down to the bottom part of the window. And there he was, a bald dude staring through the window, making a futile attempt to hide himself by bringing his head down into his shoulders like a fearful tortoise. It seemed like he had his hands cupped around the side of his face/eyes to get a better view of us. We were all frozen with terror. No one wanted to be the first to make a move. and I could feel the fear making my body heat up and sweat like I was being slowly cooked. I remembered wondering if someone had actually locked any of the doors of the house, because I sure as hell didn't, and I didn't see anyone else do it. I wondered if another creeper was at the front of the house while this dude was at the back staring at us. The interior doors of the house weren't closed, including the one leading to the living room where we were. So if someone had just waltzed in, they could make their way through the house to us without a sound, without the visual of an opening door giving us some semblance of a heads up. I felt the full vulnerability of the house, realizing for the first time that night just how insecure we actually were. Someone whispered, "Turn on the fucking light," as if dispelling the shadow would equate to dispelling the peeping man from the garden. He was quickly shut down. The other guys were glancing around the room, checking the shadow and then checking the open door of the living room, which led into the dining/kitchen area, as if expecting someone to come sprinting in at us, catching us unprepared. Because we were kids and didn't bother closing any of the blinds or curtains anywhere else in the house, the dining area that could be seen from our position was similarly bathed in moving shadows and light from outside. It didn't help with the fear, that's for sure. I couldn't take my eyes off the silhouette. I don't think I blinked for a solid minute. As the shadows of the trees moved around, his shadow remained stationary, just watching us. What the hell was he even looking at? We weren't visible to him because of where we were lying down, with the entertainment system shielding us from his line of sight. Maybe that's why he felt the need to creep up to the window. Maybe he was watching us from a distance before, but now that the lights were out and we were all laying down, he couldn't see us anymore. So he had to creep right up to the window to check us out. Oh, what the fuck? Oh my God. Okay. Someone suggested that we all just jump up and start shouting at him. He'll run away. Sounded like a decent plan actually, but regardless, it was the only thing resembling a plan that anyone came up with. So we were stuck with it. On the count of 3, we would all jump up with our best, my da's in the IRA. That must be dad. Sorry if I just like ruined that. Okay. Faces on, and one of us would hit the lights at the same time. 1, 2, 3. Light on, shadow gone. We looked outside and realized that having turned on the interior light, it was extremely hard to see anything outside. Turn off the fucking light again. Light off, shadow returned. But no one was at the window. What the fuck? Yeah, actually, what the fuck? The friend at the light switch turned it off and on a few times, trying to figure out what the hell was going on. One of the group, I can't remember which one to be honest, started laughing. He pointed to the TV, on top of which was a photograph frame. It was oval shaped. It was the cause of the bald dude's silhouette, and the TV was his shoulders. Both the TV and the photo frame were askew in relation to the wall with the window, making the shadow look a lot more compact and narrow than the TV actually was. My turds retreated back up into my colon, and we all decided to close the curtains and leave the light on for the rest of the night. I didn't sleep and stayed awake until I could go home at an hour that didn't raise eyebrows. Suffice it to say, I didn't sleep over it, this Lord of the Flies like unsupervised nightmare again. Although the shadow turned out to be innocuous, the experience made me realize how easily we could find ourselves in real trouble. Oh yeah, no one locked the doors, by the way. I checked after the shadow was revealed to be a photo frame. We may as well have hung a sign outside saying, "Pedos eat for free." Oh my God. Okay, I mean, that sounds more realistic, like, but that would be terrifying. There's been so many times where like terrifying shit like that has happened to me and it just turns out to be nothing. So I'm glad this turned out to be nothing, but thank you for the good read. That was a great story. Okay, you guys, that was the last story. So thank you guys so much for tuning into episode 15 of Buzztober. Make sure to tune in every single day during the month of October if you're loving this. If you are of a legal drinking age, whatever country you're in. I didn't think about that before when I was like, if you're under 21, don't drink. But like if you're in another country, I think 18 is like the legal drinking age, who knows? But if you are of legal drinking age, get buzzed as long as you're not driving and making sure it's a suitable hour of the day, or be buzzed in your own type of way watching or listening to this. Okay, I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Anyway, thank you guys so much. Make sure if you enjoy this to like and subscribe, as well as click that notification bell so you can see anytime I upload a new video. Cheers to you, stay buzzed and stay spooky.